Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Manns, and I'd like to welcome you to the April 4th Coalition Show. This is the June 19th, 2023 edition of the show, and it'll be the 458th one that we have done since the closing of the North Adams Regional Hospital. The April 4th Coalition's mission statement is, we are for workers' rights and collective bargaining rights and are against tax breaks for the rich and corporations who ship our jobs overseas. We support all the articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but as is our custom, we put the emphasis on Article 23.
And I'll do 1 and 3.
1 and 3. Okay.
Everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable conditions of work and protection against unemployment.
Number 2, everyone, without any discrimination, has the right to equal pay for equal work.
Number 3, everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remunerations, ensuring for himself or herself and his or her family an existence worthy of human dignity and supplemented, if necessary, by other means of social protection.
Number 4, everyone has the right to form and join trade unions for the protection of his interests. And as usual, we give a thank you to Michael Putnam, who is the program director for the community radio station WMNB-LP 107.1 for airing the audio portion of our shows on Fridays at 6 p.m. And of course to David Fabiano and his crew for helping us produce the show here at Northern Berkshire Community Television, and we are on the public access channel 1301. June 19th, Dick. There's something special about June 19th.
Yes, it's a federal holiday now, and I'll read from the history website for the history. And it says, Juneteenth, short for June 19th, marks the day when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to take control of the state and ensure that all enslaved people be freed. The troops' arrival came a full 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. Juneteenth honors the end of slavery in the United States and is considered the longest running African American holiday. On June 17, 2021, it officially became a federal holiday. Juneteenth 2023 will occur on Monday, June 19th. Confederate General Robert E. Lee had surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse 2 months earlier in Virginia, but slavery had remained relatively unaffected in Texas until U.S. General Gordon Granger stood on Texas soil and read the General Orders Number 3. The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with the proclamation that all of the executive of the United Proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves are free. The Emancipation Proclamation issued by President Abraham Lincoln on January 1st, 1863, had established that all enslaved people in Confederate states in rebellion against the United States shall be thenceforth and forever be free. But in reality, the Emancipation Proclamation didn't instantly free any enslaved people. The proclamation only applied to places under Confederate control and not to slave-holding border states or rebels areas already under the Union control. However, as Northern troops advanced into the Confederate South, many enslaved people fled behind Union lines. In Texas, slavery had continued as a state experienced no large-scale fighting or significant presence of Union troops. Many enslavers from outside the Lone Star State had moved there, as they viewed it as a safe haven for slavery. After the war came to a close in the spring of 1865, General Granger's arrival in Galveston that June signaled freedom for Texas's 250,000 enslaved people. Although emancipation didn't happen overnight, everyone, in some cases, enslavers held the information until after the harvest season. Celebrations broke out among the newly freed black people, and Juneteenth was born. That December, slavery in America was formally abolished with the adoption of the 13th Amendment. So we're here on a federal holiday, and
bring you to continue to tape our show and continue to educate people, and the history of June 19th should never be forgotten.
No. Now, right now, we've been on a topic of people who are seeking asylum. Everyone has the right to seek and enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. That's Article 14 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But there's also legal immigration too.
Yes, there is.
And this whole system needs to be overhauled, as we talked about in the last show, you know, that there's a broken system. So we're going to show a video right now. It's Jon Stewart's podcast.
Okay.
And excuse us, there's a few F-bombs in there.
Well, that is Jon Stewart's
That's Jon
trademark.
Stewart's trademark, but they're talking about legal immigration. And so let's watch it. It's about 13 minutes, and then we'll react to it.
Okay.
Is there anything as the year winds down that you find particularly on your minds? What's been, Dennis, what's been happening for you? What's on your mind as we wind down?
So, John, there's actually this story that I really want to talk about, and I feel like it didn't get a lot of airtime in the news. And I'm an immigrant myself, and I feel like there's so much talk about, immigration and the so-called border crisis. And there's so many important stories that kind of like really get lost in kind of all of the fear-mongering that's going on. And it is about these kids called documented dreamers. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah, isn't that DACA? That's
So it's not actually DACA. So DACA dreamers, they come to the U.S. with their parents who are undocumented, and there are these documented dreamers,
right.
and they
Wait,
move
you
to
said
the U.S.
documented dreamers.
Documented dreamers.
No, that I am not familiar with that.
Right. So I'm an immigrant. I grew up in Turkey, and in order to survive in America, you kind of like need to learn a lot about immigration. So
And
I
sodas, different sodas. It's important that you understand the various brands. When you...
Yes. I recently found out about this group of kids. They're called Documented Dreamers. And they basically moved to the U.S. with their parents who are on visas. So they come here on visas. They're here
So
legally.
they're here legally.
Yeah, they're here legally.
But they're kids.
But they're kids, and
Okay.
they usually come here around like the age 5.
Okay.
And basically what happens is that they're on this thing called a dependent visa until they turn 21.
Okay.
And the idea is that, the parents are here for decades. During some time, their visa is going to turn into a green card. They will have permanent residency, and they'll be allowed to stay in America.
Okay.
But because of our archaic immigration system,
How dare you?
I went there.
Dennis, how dare you? And so close to Christmas.
I know. And look, love America, archaic immigration system.
Yeah.
But basically, we haven't, this country hasn't updated its quotas for green cards
Right.
since before the internet. So the last time we did that was like early 90s.
Is this a yearly allotment of green cards?
Right, yes.
Okay.
And basically what happens is because of the backlog, and also there's certain visas. For example, if you're an immigrant here on a small business visa, you can be on it forever, but there's no path to a green card and to a citizenship. So because of the way immigration is structured, once these kids turn 21, they cannot be dependent of their parents.
No.
So
I know where
they-
we're going here.
I know.
Can I guess the ending? Spoiler alert.
Yes.
So when these kids turn 21, their parents have yet to get their green card. They're on a dependent visa, so they are at that moment no longer legally living within the United States.
Yes.
Fuck. At 21, they've been here since they were, let's say, 5. What happens, Dennis? Please.
They have to self-deport.
Dang.
Jeez.
Dang.
Yes.
You know, can I just jump in very quickly? I said, I really thought when I said, "Do you have anything?" I thought it was going to be White Lotus finale. I did not know we were. I didn't know we were going deep.
No, I remember Dennis saying something about Chuck Grassley and his involvement with this, and there was like a picture with some of the kids in that organization. Like, you know what I'm talking about, Dennis?
Oh, yeah. So basically, there are more than 200,000 kids right now facing deportation in the United States, and 10,000 deport every year.
All who have been on dependent visas, 200,000.
Yes. and 10,000 deport every year. And you would think the government doesn't know, but they know. So Chuck Grassley met up with these kids in May. He took a photo with them, talked to them about this. So they have this nonprofit called Improve the Dream. It's a bunch of documented dreamers, lobbying for
Right.
legislation.
Right.
He took a photo with them and then tweeted it out. And guess what? One of the kids in the photo is already deported.
Dang.
Dennis, are you suggesting that Chuck Grassley may be somewhat hypocritical in his stance here? Are you suggesting in any way, shape, or form that Chuck Grassley, who is now, I mean, he has killed more immigration bill. Like Chuck Grassley is the single worst senator of anybody. I mean, and it's so crazy because he's the one senator who's probably, I mean, look, I'm not talking out of school, just talking actuarial tables, leaving this earth and this country sooner than almost any of the other ones. Like, but he stops it. Why was he meeting with them to just disappoint them? What, do you have any idea what the meeting was about?
Well, he, the funniest thing is there is bipartisan support on how fucked up this is.
There has to be. This is nuts. It's nuts.
Exactly. And they all agree. And there are actually two bills introduced. There's one in House and one in Senate. It's called America's Children Act. And
Wait, it's the ACA?
I guess so.
Oh my
yes.
God.
Maybe that's why.
Everything is the ACA in this country. All right. So it's the American Children's Act.
Yeah. And, it has bipartisan support. Like in the Senate, Rand Paul is behind it.
What?
I know.
Wow. All the Avengers are coming together.
And the idea was, outside of the act, that this would be included in the defense bill.
Okay.
And it was not.
Which just passed, the NDAA.
Exactly.
Right.
And it did not pass. It was not involved. Yeah.
Wait. So it was not included or it got taken out?
So there was a hope that it would be included.
And it
There
was
like
not
there-
included.
It was not included, yes. And now it might be in the omnibus.
Knowing how the NDAA works, what happened means is somebody used that as a bargaining chip to get something else. Somebody said, well, if you want that, then I'm taking out the ACA for documented immigrants because everything down there
Right.
is, well, then those 200,000 people have to suffer if you want that.
Right.
Because we can't fix everything because that's just who we are.
The NDAA is actually, it's really bad. So a lot of people know, we did an Afghan episode.
So Kaysan is talking about the Afghan translators who helped the troops when they were over in Afghanistan. We've left like 100,000 of them behind, and we were supposed to have the Afghan Adjustment Act, which makes them eligible to come here. Now they are all on the run from the Taliban because we left behind all the biometric analysis. Sorry, guys, we forgot the biometric analysis, and they know who you are.
I don't know why, but it seemed like every time we put out a clip from the show,
Yeah.
within the hour, Herschel Walker would come out and say something dumber and dumber. And so we had to be like, truly, we would put out a clip being like, we made a promise to these people, our translators, and we got to take care of them. And as soon as we put out a clip saying that, Herschel Walker would be like, I saw vampires in my sleep last night.
You're saying he's there specifically to draw attention away from
100%.
the SIV programs. and things like
100%.
that.
So you look at No One Left Behind, which is a great organization that tries to help our translators get out. And
That's right.
we talked about the SIV program, and you look at the NDAA, and they tweeted out all of the ways that Congress failed our Afghan allies. The SIV program,
Again, supposed to be in the NDAA, along with, I guess, this other program as well.
obviously Chuck Grassley's in the middle of that. They struck out on a provision that would extend the Afghan interpreters' eligibility. Wounded in combat,
That's
took
right.
that out.
Which has to be renewed, I think, I don't know if it's every year or every 2 years, but it has to be renewed. And this is the year that they just decided not to renew it.
Yeah.
They took out a provision that would reimburse the troops who were actually using their own money to help their interpreters get out.
What the fuck do you think they get for that? Like, what is the horse trade there? What is Chuck was it something that Chuck Grassley said, hey man, I'll give you, whatever, we're going to legalize pot, or we're going to make it so that we decriminalize it. But then if I give you that, all those Afghans who helped our troops, fuck them. Is that like, what trade could they possibly be doing?
Here's the best part. In the statement about the provision not being added, it obviously says the agreement does not include this provision. And then right after it says, in the statement, we acknowledge the incredible heroism and professionalism of these members of the armed forces who participated in the United States transition out of Afghanistan and are grateful for the Afghan nationals who supported the United States military in Afghanistan.
Wow.
So-
That's so much worse than just saying nothing.
Yeah.
Thanks, though.
It really is one of those like, hey, man. So it's like if somebody is like trapped in the bottom of a well, and what they do is, so here's what we've decided to do: pull up the rope without you. But in lieu of the rope to pull you out of the well, we are going to say to you, we do appreciate you being at the bottom of it.
Here's a Home Depot gift card where you can buy your own rope.
Guys, this was the end of the year episode. I thought we were going to be having some uplifting anecdotes. And instead we're failing a good 400,000 vulnerable people that we could easily fucking help. Easily. With almost, it's the lightest lift a country could do. It's nothing.
You care too much about the world for us to have a truly uplifting. Like if you didn't care about the world, we could just talk about rom-coms all day. I'm fine with that.
Oh, I'm fine with that too.
This is crazy. Dennis, is there anything we can do about this? All roads lead to Chuck Grassley, obviously,
Yes.
on all of these things. So I guess going after Grassley is probably, he's the linchpin.
Absolutely.
The cowardice on the SIV and the Afghan programs, that's expected, because I think, underlying prejudice for people from that part of the world is overwhelming to this day. And it's the easiest thing to excise because terror. But Dennis, the situation that you're discussing seems incomprehensible.
Yeah, and the thing that I think about is like, Republicans love to say, do it the right way, get in line, get in line.
And this was the right way.
This is the right way. Right now, for an Indian immigrant with an MBA, the wait for a green card is 150 years.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
150 years.
Yeah. And I think they love to make it about like the border crisis and like, all of that stuff. Everything is about legal immigration. Refugees are about legal immigration.
Yes.
This situation is about legal immigration. It's a big system. They don't want to address it. And they're just saying, to be quite honest, like racist stuff.
It's pathetic.
Yeah, it is pathetic.
It's pathetic. And when you say to somebody, how long do I have to wait for a green card? 150 years. You have to do it in quotes. You just have to go like, oh, how long do I have to wait for my green card? Oh, you'll get it. 150 years. The wait is it's 150 years. Yeah.
Yeah, come to this country the white way and get in here in 2175.
Come to this country on one of those specialist visas because we need your expertise. And chances are your kids are also gonna, do quite well. But we're gonna ask them to leave at 21.
Self-deportation as a concept is crazy.
Yeah.
I always say, like, I pay taxes, and I'm like, I don't even get my own ICE agent. I have to self-deport. Like, that's just kind of crazy.
My taxes, they don't even pay for me to get driven to the airport to get the fuck out of here. Unacceptable. You know what? I can tell during this conversation, when you guys first started, you looked young and vibrant, and I can tell it's, even in these 15 minutes, it's wearing on you. This process has already started.
I can feel the gout coming onto me.
I also want to say this is the first year that I started having grays. I have like 3 grays.
Is that
right
true?
Here. Yeah. I turned 30 this year. 3 grays here.
Dennis, this is the first year I've had them too. I don't know what happened. So I'm sure they won't be coming on hard.
Wow, that is definitely. I knew about the translators for Afghan, and I knew that would be a hollow promise no matter what. We have good intentions, and as they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. The documented dreamers had not heard of that one
No.
at all. And oh, well, you're an adult now, so we don't have to take care of you, I
Right.
think is
We
the
let you in
philosophy.
this country when you were a dependent. You're no longer a dependent, so you're on your own, and you have to go back to the country.
That you
that
have
your
absolutely
parents
almost
left.
no knowledge of,
Yes.
and that your parents left to come to work with. And, the backlog on green cards and everything else. Yes, this is a monumental problem to solve, but basically workers solve it. If you have enough people doing
Right.
the work,
And
you
you-
fund the immigration departments
It-
well enough, you can chip away, just dedicate 50 people to work on the backlog of green cards while you're still processing current ones, and amazingly, that number shrinks.
Right. There has to be a force of people in Congress to do the right thing and pass comprehensive immigration reform. I think the last time it was done was in the 90s, and I think it was
Obviously,
done
that
in
was
the 80s.
pre-internet.
It was done in the 80s, I think. Ronald Reagan even was able to get
Something
something
across the door.
across. So that means there's like a 23 or maybe even 30-year period where we haven't updated the system. Like they said on the video, we haven't reformed our immigration laws since the internet became a part of our lives. And we all know how that's changed our lives.
Right.
And so these people who, one, they don't want to work together for some reason, and but they're using
They don't want to
that
give the
issue.
other side a win.
Right, they're using that issue to keep people out of the country. But we have a shortage of workers. We have a
Yes, we do.
shortage of young people in the country.
Yeah, got that too.
And-
Our birth rate is declining.
Right.
Yep.
And so, I know from my own children, like there's, I have 4 children, but only one has had children,
Right.
so
Oh, yeah.
we need young people. We
We
need
do.
young people to pay into Social Security, pay taxes, and to keep the economy going. And to for that example that was used in that documentary was someone with a PhD in India that wants to come to this country that very easily could be put to work, and they say you have a 150-year wait
For a green card.
for a green card.
But
That-
come on over under this special visa program.
or don't go to the border and sneak in,
Or
you
sneak
know.
in,
Right,
basically.
right, and that's
And then we'll keep you
what we
because you're
talked about
valuable.
last week in some of the videos. They had so many people that were in Haiti, in 2 other Latin American countries, I can't remember, that family members were going to sponsor them to come to the United States. And there, thousands and thousands, but we just don't have the capacity to process
just it.
So what
Yeah.
do they do? Rather than doing it legally,
There
they're
they go
doing it
for-
illegally, So rather than pointing the finger, hey, look at the border, let's look at our immigration laws, and let's look at the factors that are causing people
To yeah.
immigrate. There's a pull, there's jobs, but sometimes people are being pushed out of a country because of poverty, because there's sanctions
Since
that
warfare.
or a war, yes,
And I mean civil war. I don't
Yeah,
necessarily
right.
mean war between 2 countries. I
right,
just mean civil war.
civil war, right. There's instability, and usually that happens when there's a lack of resources.
Yep.
That's when people start fighting. So we need to start spreading those resources around the world and try to alleviate the need for people wanting to leave home,
Right.
but also increase our ability to take new people in to our country
Right.
legally.
It's not enough just to raise the number that says, okay, we'll let in X amount per year, because if you still can't process them, you're not going to meet the goal. It just sounds
Right.
good. It looks pretty. It's like, here, look at this over here. Don't see what I'm doing wrong over here.
Right.
And yeah, it would be massive, but if they chipped away at it every year, looked at the regulations, took 1 year to do that, updated what they could every year, you could resolve the problem. No one says solve it overnight, but but work on it piece by piece so that we live up to our word and our dream and our promise that we make to the world.
Right, and it only benefits us that the United States is strong because of our diversity, because we draw from all cultures, and we're a melting pot. We bring people in, and they work their way through the system, and they make us stronger and a better country. And
It rejuvenates us.
yeah, they're not, you know,
It keeps us from getting stale.
yeah, they bring people in that, you know, people who are poor are very creative in how they survive.
Yes,
And if they
yeah.
came to a land of plenty like we have, they would put us to shame by the amount of work that they would do. You know, they would be planting food, they would be, you know, working to
Working
feed themselves.
in their home and
And
everything.
starting businesses. And so I think we have to look to bringing more people into this country legally. And it starts with the Congress getting together and writing a comprehensive immigration law, not worrying that one side or the other is going to claim victory, but that
Correct.
for the good of the people who need to come to the country, especially the children that are
Especially the
caught,
children.
you know, these
And all this little red
documented dreamers and the undocumented dreamers, you know, that are in this country. Let's give them a chance to become
Is
citizens.
it so hard
Yeah.
to create a pathway to become citizens for them? Really, is it so hard to say, okay, when you are 21, go to the immigration, when you turn 21, go to the nearest immigration center, and we will automatically issue you a green card so that you're not deported because you can't, just because we were unable to do it for your parents, we'll do it for you. Because here we are, the parents could be staying because their visa's still
Yeah.
good.
And yet we have one presidential candidate that wants to repeal the part of the Constitution that says if you're born in this country, that you're not necessarily a citizen.
Way to go, Ron. It's got to be Ron. He's the only one I can think of who would be that minutiae. Because didn't he do that in Florida?
No, I think it was Donald Trump.
It was Donald?
Donald Trump, yeah. He says he can do it, you know, as president. They tried to tell him that you'd have to amend the Constitution. But that doesn't matter to him.
No, it
But
doesn't.
anyways, you know, I'm just grateful for the welcome that my grandparents got. I know it wasn't easy, but I still have the books that they were given to learn to be a citizen, the books that they were taught on how to become an American citizen. I still have those. And there was a force that helped, even though it was difficult. They got a lot of help.
There was help.
Yeah,
Not
so-
now.
Yeah. So
And there are still agencies out there that try to help, but
in Pittsfield, there's an immigrant agency.
there is down there, they have one.
We're coming to a close. I hope you have a nice, enjoy your Juneteenth. Remember why we're celebrating that day.
Yep.
And,
And we will
power
see
to the
you.
people.
And we'll see you next week.
There's power in a factory, power in the land, power in the hand of the worker. But it all amounts to nothing if together we don't stand. There is power in a union. Now the lessons of the past were all learned with workers' blood. Mistakes of the bosses we must pay for. From the cities and the farmlands to trenches full